And James Grande.
What is going on, everybody? John Impemba here with Colby Conway, breaking down Wednesday's 6-game main slate here on the Better Baseball MLB DFS Playbook podcast here on the Better Sports Network and Fantasy Alarm social channels. Colby, you and I did the 5 p.m. live stream there on Tuesday, getting everybody ready for the main slate. Starting off, as we expected, Patrick Corbin getting hammered by the New York Mets, an early 4-0 lead on the docket there. So hopefully we can break down this 6-gamer on Wednesday as we did the Tuesday slate here. A lot of great pitching for just being 6 games. A lot to break down here today.
Absolutely. Anytime you have a slate with Spencer Strider, Max Scherzer, hopefully Max Scherzer, we should say, Justin Verlander, and some other guys there, the pitching is going to be interesting. And then, of course, we got Atlanta on the slate, which means Ronald Acuna, Matt Olson, Austin Riley. Basically, the question pretty much on any slate when the Atlanta's on it, to stack Braves or to not stack Braves.
Exactly. And it makes it more difficult when Spencer Strider's on that slate because he is very expensive. Before we jump into breaking down this 6-game slate here, obviously a little bit of a quick show tonight given the slate size. Shout out to our friends at RT Sports. Go to rtsports.com/alarm. Promo code ALARM23. New users will get a 100% deposit match with their first deposit. Use that deposit match to take part in the DFS Pick'em contest, or still time remaining to join their fantasy football or best ball fantasy football championship contest there. Again, the NFL season kicks off on Thursday. Don't miss out on your chance on a $500,000 grand prize with their fantasy football championship contest. Still accepting entries, still plenty of time to draft. Sign up today. Remember, go to rtsports.com/alarm. Promo code ALARM23. Colby, got the 6 games up here. We got Detroit versus New York, Mets versus Washington, St. Louis versus Atlanta, Chicago versus Kansas City, Houston, Texas, Baltimore, LA. A lot of those games finishing up their series, starting their series, somewhere in between here. But we mentioned the top pitching here. 3 guys over 10K, and then a big drip down in pricing after that. We have Strider at 12-3 against St. Louis, and then Scherzer and Verlander going up against one another. Scherzer at 11K, Verlander at 10-2. Obviously, Spencer Strider finds himself in a pretty good spot here against St. Louis if you can afford him on a 6-game slate. But do you find yourself looking at either Scherzer or Verlander in their spots?
I don't know if I can, because you're already going into the game before first pitch knowing that your chances of a win are probably a little bit diminished, or maybe not diminished, but you're in a tougher spot, right? You're not Spencer Strider going up against Dakota Hudson. You're a guy going up against, well, you're one of your former teammates just as of, a little bit ago. So I can't get to Scherzer. I don't know what to make of his forearm fatigue issue that we can't seem to figure out. As they said it's because of fatigue that he had forearm tightness. And I don't know, I raised my eyebrows on that one a little bit. So 2 good offenses here going against. I don't think I'm going to try to have to make that decision. I think I'd rather just fork up the extra 1,000 plus or even 2,000 plus from Verlander, just get the Strider and call it a day.
Yeah, I'm in full agreement with you there. Of course, on DraftKings, the difficulty is, okay, you're paying $12,300 for your SP1. You still want to get some bats in. Where are you going to go with your SP2? Some interesting spots here, because we just saw Matt Manning face this New York Yankees team, and he shut them out over 2 innings. He's actually pitched really well now for 4 straight starts, 3 straight starts of 6 innings, allowing just 1 total run. 4 straight starts actually allowing just 1 total run, a couple of unearned runs there. I mean, Clark Schmidt on the other side of him there, certainly a winnable game. Do you think Manning is worth going back to it, or are you worried about a pitcher facing the same lineup for the 2nd time in a row?
Yeah, I mean, there's some concern there, but at this price point, I mean, why the heck not? Over the last 2 weeks, Yankees are striking out like 27% of the time against right-handed pitching with a sub-200 batting average. They're below the Mendoza line as a team. I know there's little pieces that we tend to like here and there on given slates, but in this one is your SP2, and it's really just a hodgepodge of random, normal, like medium range guys. None of them really do it for you. I mean, why not take a chance with a Matt Manning type? I like his chances of a win. I think some Detroit bats might be in play against Clark Schmidt. And at that price point, hey, he's done it once in terms of shutting down the Yankees. So he's got it in his bag of skills and abilities, right? It's there. We've seen it.
100%. I think both pitchers in this slate could be viable. Schmidt gave up 3 earned 6 hits and just 4 2/3 in that game. 3 walks, did allow a homer, but he had 7 strikeouts during that start there. Schmidt, a much better surprisingly at home this year, 3.91 ERA versus 5.29 on the road. Kyle Gibson's kind of been a meh pitcher for most of this year, got rocked a couple times lately to really balloon his ERA. He's got the Angels that could be without Ohtani. I know we liked Dean Kremer here on the Tuesday slate. Gibson doesn't really do too much for me. Sandoval is a lefty against Baltimore, the third straight game for Baltimore facing a lefty pitcher. Not great probably for Sandoval in that spot. So you really are looking at the value at Schmidt, Manning. And then could you float out a Jordan Lyles here coming off maybe his best start in a decade? Boston, 8 innings, 2 earned runs allowed, 7 strikeouts. Did he just, have the perfect storm in that start against Boston? Or did the White Sox matchup make him maybe an appealing play for you this time ago, especially if Luis Robert's not in the lineup?
Yeah. It's weird to say. I mean, he's been better. He's been better at home. Still an ERA north of 5, but I mean, he's been better at home. I mean, he had such a nice streak there from a profit potential in that he was just a given for 2, 3, 4, 5 earned runs, and then just comes out here and blanks Boston. Of course, I was on the other side of that one.
So was I, yeah.
as probably most were. Yeah. I think it's contrarian for sure. I think it kind of has some shades of like trying to be the smartest person in the room to go for it. I totally get attacking the White Sox. I can, outside of when the lefty's facing, I'm Luis Robert all the way, but Lyles is not that. I think you can do it. I don't think you need to. I think that's what it comes down to.
I agree with you. Listen, it's a small slate. I think you're going to see a lot of people just go Strider and then one of this Detroit Yankees matchup. I think they just plug in a Schmidt or a Manning and they let it ride and they roll with Spencer here. No interest, obviously, in anybody like Tukey, Adon. Not going to pitch Hudson, Budo here. Any other pitchers? It looks like this guy is just going to be they said he might. 93 pitches. He did get a start or two early. Any interest here in Jose Budo?
No, I probably won't be. I won't be going there. At least like Touki Toussaint gives you like some strikeout upside.
Sure.
I'm not quite sure. I mean, Budo did have 5 over 2 2/3 in his last one, but I don't think I'm going to get below Manning. I actually really like Matt Manning's price point.
Yeah. I hear you completely. Again, it's not a big slate of pitching options. You pick a game pitcher in this Yankees Detroit game, throw in Strider. If we went Strider and Manning, we'll kind of build as we go here on the small slate. That's 38.75 for our next positions here. Catch a spot against 6 games. We're going to look maybe for some value. No unfortunate Gabriel Moreno plug for us here. That's obviously a big sad, but we could find ourselves with some spots here at catcher. Which ones kind of stick out to you?
If you go really cheap, I mean, Yasmani Grandal has got some good BVP numbers against Jordan Lyles for his career. Lyles hasn't been great against lefties, OPS around 840, 354 WOBA. So, I mean, you could probably do worse than Grandal. And again, excuse me, we're probably not paying up for catching anyway. Right. I mean, we'll never say no to Adley of the sorts, but I think you're going to have to look somewhere a little bit cheaper. I mean, Francisco Alvarez, for the most part, hits righties quite well.
And he homered tonight off of Corbin. So, ready to go. That's the one I gravitated towards as well. Yeah. And if we find ourselves with some extra money left over, like, maybe you could go up and, Darno, if he's in the lineup against Hudson, or Salvi against Toussaint, something in that range. But I like Alvarez a lot here as well. 3,500 still gives us more money to play with. Because as we move across the platform, these guys start to get pretty expensive, figuring out which direction we want to go. Torkelson, Olsen, 2 guys, Mountcastle's at 46, some first basemen that are certainly in great spots.
Yeah, I mean, again, it seems like Baltimore can only get lefties at this point. So some of those right-handed bats look pretty good. So I definitely don't mind Mountcastle in there. And then if you look around from there, first base is interesting. I like Matt Olson, as probably the whole world does, 2 for 3 in his career against Hudson. And then outside of that, I mean, I would love to play Torkelson. It's lefties against Schmidt that have done more damage. It's not to say that Torque can't, especially because basically what we're doing, we're playing for the home run at that point.
For the home run, yeah.
But, you start looking at it, is a $5,000 Torkelson a better investment than a $6,200 Olsen?
Probably not. I mean, I would even, Adon at Alonso at 47 could be interesting too, just from a power perspective. The other one I was looking at here was Chenal. I mean,
Just
I know he started to really, dip off. Small sample sizes will do that to you here, but I don't think much of Kyle Gibson. Chenal's been leading off for them. I could find myself getting to $3,500 there for a lineup play.
Yep, lefty's hitting 304 against Gibson this year, 362 WOBA.
Yep.
So, and he hits near the top of the order. And the nice thing too is he is not afraid to take the base on balls. He will walk. He is fine to do it. So 3,500, that's good split. And then also too, when you look at his numbers, I mean, it's not like he's been a slouch of late. Like he's putting up numbers. So hard to complain.
Yeah, a couple of offers, and because it's small sample size, he's hitting 270, but like 2 days ago, he's hitting 350. So that's the way it is. Justin Vreeland's favorite player here, Daniel Vogelbach, 905 OPS, 3 homers over the last 10. I mean, he's going to be in the lineup, right? Because they have the righty on the mound here. So $2,600 punt play. I don't know how he manages to be a good baseball player or a good-ish baseball player at times, but right now, he is swinging a decent bat, so I could give some looks to Vogelbach at his price. For
sure. Yeah, it's first base is I think you're at the tippy top, or you're kind of going down to Nolan Schanuel and some of those other guys.
Yeah,
down there.
for sure. Second base here. Again, expensive guys are at the top. Altuve, Semi, and Albie is obviously all of them. If you can figure out a way to get there, you can. On a smaller slate, though, it does be a little bit difficult. So I kind of gravitate right back to what we did on Tuesday. If Ronnie Marcio is in the lineup, he's a switch hitter. I'll just take the savings and plug him in a position that I find to be rather weak. What are you looking at when it comes to second base here?
Yeah, pretty much it's Mauricio is a good value. And then I like Glaber a good bit. Numbers have been good of late. It's a good match. If you're not going Matt Manning, I think you get away with Glaber. I mean, he's got an OPS north of 1,200 over his last 10 games at home. So he gets the ball in the air. Chances are it's going to go. So if you're not going Matt Manning, I think you can pay up for Glaber at second base.
I love that. Yeah, I love that call. Gotta love the power upside. Again, a guy that was down for most of the year. His end of the season stats aren't going to look too bad the way his August went and now into September here. So good call on that one. The other one I'll give a peek at. Again, I know he is struggling a bit here, as is the rest of the Royals lineup, but there was a point where Michael Massey was hitting the ball pretty well. If the Royals do click after their performance a couple nights ago, we saw him in that game, a double, a 2-run scored, an RBI. We'll see what they do on Tuesday. But if this starts to be a trend where Monday the Royals hit, Tuesday the Royals hit, I could get back on the Michael Massey train at 3,300 because Touki Toussaint does not scare me one bit.
Yep, I think it could be another evening of a Royal stack being a contrarian one. I think we're looking down the barrel of that one again.
Yep, I like it. Moving on over to the third base position here. Again, a lot more of what we saw on the Tuesday slate, where these top price guys don't have the best of spots. Austin Riley against Righty and Hudson. Obviously, that's a good spot for him. We don't think much of Dakota Hudson, but Bregman's going up against Scherzer. Henderson gets a lefty in Sandoval. Arenado against Strider. None of that sounds great. Nolan Gorman's got Strider. If it's not Riley, you're probably finding yourself again dipping down into the mid tier, where I kind of look at Mike Moustakas here. Again, I understand the Angels lineup is starting to struggle, but another lefty against Kyle Gibson here could be, the key to success.
Lefties against Gibson has been good to us this year. I could see it being good again. And then there's some other guys too. We'll get to an outfielder that I kind of find appealing in there as well. But yeah, I definitely don't mind. I don't mind Moustakas at all. It's a good spot.
What other third baseman are you taking a peek at?
Well, we talked about the Royals. Maikel Garcia's hitting the ball well of late too. 733 OPS over his last 10. And he's in a good spot. Like we said, Touki Toussaint's not very good, so we can definitely look to him. When you go down a little bit in price tag, like you go down, like I so badly. No, I can't even say that.
Is it Brett Beatty? You're looking at Brett?
Yeah,
Beatty?
I was. That's exactly who I was doing. I so badly want to play him most times, but it's just he hasn't given me that reason to.
I wonder what happened, right? Like obviously he was scorching the ball, and Mets fan was calling for his call up. Mm-hmm. He just was not able to adjust here at the major league level yet. Not calling the end of his career. He can certainly just go back down next year, and we've seen plenty of guys struggle their first taste, come back up and rake. So, but Beatty, a lot of people had high hopes for him, but just wasn't able to really pull it through this year.
Yep. And then also, if you go down there too, I mean, maybe a Mark Vientos type if he finds his way into the lineup. I mean, again, you're playing for one swing that you hope it goes a long way, and a couple guys come around the base.
Current form, though, right? Ride the current form at 2,200. If he has another good night on Tuesday, a couple of multi-hit games over the last few for him. So I definitely don't hate that. Again, Joe Adon is not someone we're looking to fade. He's not that great of a pitcher. So
Couldn't be worse.
Shortstop here. Got some guys we do like. Bobby Witt, $6,400. I'm not going to shy away from Seager in the Verlander matchup. Lindor gets Adon. Abrams, I would imagine, would be back in the lineup after sitting out the Tuesday game here. So top 4 of the 5 shortstops for me, I think, are all in play.
They are all certainly in play. Love Bobby Witt. Love a lot of those guys there. You go down a little bit. Big Bad Luis in Los Angeles hitting the cover off the ball. And I don't know if we've said it yet, but lefties against Kyle Gibson has been pretty good.
Yeah.
So that's something you can look at as he's been hitting the ball well of late. Anthony Volpe's down there in play as well. And then, of course, you get dual eligibility Ronnie Mauricio. So you get, if you don't get him in at second, you can get him in at short.
Exactly. Other value plays, just kind of see Mason wins down here. We're not going to do that against Strider. It's probably it. You're probably right. Could be. Well, Paris had been playing. I guess if he finds his way into the lineup, I don't hate that at $2,200.
Yep. I think it'll be probably one of those where if you really have to save money, you go down from him. But there's shortstop, I think, is going to be a position worth paying up for. There's so many good options. You're going to want one of those big boys up there.
Yeah, 100%. Outfield here. Obviously, Ronald Acuna against Hudson at 68. You do have Judge, and then you got the Astros guys have the Scherzer spot. How are you feeling about these top options?
I think it's Acuna or bust amongst those top ones. I think that's the way to do it. And then you go down a little bit. Like I could be interested just because I am a little bit down on Scherzer's, again, forearm fatigue issue.
Yeah.
Maybe looking at a couple of bats against him, if maybe a mini stack of Houston, if it's something that on a 6-game slate, you're going to have to differentiate yourself. And it's kind of weird to think that, well, I'll play Jordan and Kyle Tucker, and that's, differentiating yourself. That's typically not the case, but it may not be all that far-fetched.
Yeah, if the arm's not there, right? If there's some issues with the fatigue, could be a spot to go.
Yep. And then if you drop down a little bit in price tag, boy, I think I'm going to get suckered into a whole bunch of Kerry Carpenter as a lefty going up against Clark Schmidt. I just foresee somehow, you black out when making your lineup, and it's like, oh shoot, there's Kerry Carpenter.
How did I end up here? I get that all the time. For sure. I like Santander here at $4,400 as well. Again, a guy that has historically hit lefties. Michael Harris at 45 against Hudson feels pretty strong as well. Just getting more exposure to that Braves lineup. Moniak and Gifo both hit from the left side against Gibson, so you can keep kind of running them out there. Hayes, Rosario also in the low 4K.
Yep, it's outfield's actually really nice. I really like. I'm thinking too. Can Eloy Jimenez get to Jordan Lyles? I would hope so.
Yeah, right.
I would really hope so. And then you go down a little bit. I don't know. I think it may end up being my home run call for no reason at all, perhaps, but I really like MJ Melendez against Tuki Toussaint. I don't know if it's going to be a Melendez Witt mini stack. Maybe throw someone else in there like a Massey or a Michael Garcia.
Yeah, I like it.
But something it seems like it's a Melendez home run day.
I'm on board. He hits cleanup for them a lot of times. Again, a couple of weeks ago, Royals were a red-hot offense and doing a lot of damage here. And Melendez was really having a breakout during that stretch, along with Witt and the rest of that crew. So if they come through tonight against the White Sox, you could certainly see the Royals getting some extra looks here. Parker Meadows is another lefty bat that goes up against Clark Schmidt here. Could see the damage. 294, 841 against him. The last 10 games for Parker Meadows here, and you get that lefty bat in Yankee Stadium. Feels pretty toasty. Don't often play Benintendi, but again, if you're just anti-Jordan Lyles, he is at the top of that lineup. You could certainly find yourself getting there. And then Jasson Dominguez is $3,100. So again, if you're a believer in Jasson and not playing Manning, really great price tag for a guy that has a lot of power and speed.
Yep, and it's one of those things where I love DraftKings as much as I will crap on them every now and again for some of the positional eligibilities they toss out there for players and stuff. I love how when prospects first come up, they stay underpriced for so long. We
played Corbin Carroll under $4,000 for like 2 months. They just would not touch. James and I every slate were like, Corbin Carroll's 38. Like, here we go. Let's just keep riding him out because they just wouldn't touch it. And now he's been above 5K for about 3 months. So take the value.
If it ain't broke. And then one last one too. If you're going to go Kansas City, Edward Olivares down there at 2,800 as well. Very cheap.
I agree with you 100%. All right, you kind of hinted it already, but give me your home run call here.
I'm going MJ Melendez. It just feels like a day I don't believe in Tuki Toussaint, so I like Melendez quite a bit.
That's a pretty good one here. You went Melendez. I'm gonna go. Trying to think here. I'll go Matt Olson. Why not? Right? Cheating, I guess maybe, but Matt Olson versus Dakota Hudson feels like a home run play for me. All right, a couple minutes left in the show. Let's build a line. We got it half built or half-ish built. Strider, Manning, Alvarez. I feel like we're gonna plug in Mauricio here at second. We like spending up at short. Did we want Witt or Lindor here, or Abrams even? Where were your feelings?
I think I would be inclined to go Witt.
All right, we'll go Witt. You liked Melendez. I agreed with that play. In the outfield, 35. Let's see, third base. I kind of like Moose. You like Moose here?
I don't mind it.
Or Mike. Actually, let's go Michael. Let's get a Royals stack going here. Michael Garcia. So we have 3,400 for first and two outfielders. Vogelbach is so tempting. I might just pull. Let's see. If we go Chenal, that gives us about 34 a play for two outfielders.
Right.
Olivares, we'll four stack. Yeah, let's four stack KC. That gives us a 39. And I'm okay going Eloy here. See if you can get it done against Jordan Lyles. So Strider, Manning, Alvarez, Chenal, Mauricio, Garcia, Witt, Melendez, Olivares, Jimenez. Any other thoughts on the lineup there, Colby?
Let's hope for a lot of runs in that KC game.
Hope for a lot of runs. I would agree with you. That's a look here again at the sixth game. DraftKings main slate kicking off at 7:05. There will be some day baseball. Get us in the Discord. Find us on Twitter if you have any questions for that. I believe, Colby, you're back at 5 o'clock Eastern with me, right?
I believe so, yes.
All right. Colby will be back with me at 5 o'clock. We'll break down the slate, any updated news and lineup notes that come out. Colby will be here with us. For now, everybody, good luck, and we will catch you all later.